Alrighty, teens in the Tri-Cities being targeted for their mobiles. Thieves apparently strolling up and asking for the time. Such an innocent question, hey? But when the kids pull out their devices to check the time, they are strong-armed, threatened with a crowbar or bear spray out of the phones and the passcodes. So if your device gets pilfered, can you protect the material or perhaps your personal information that's stored on the phone? Graham Williams with GetConnected Media is here tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
All right. This is really kind of a terrifying thing. Lots of people robbed. You know, it's kind of a grab and go thing. I've always felt secure because mine's locked, passcode. But what if the thief has threatened me and now has my passcode? They have access to everything.
So one of the great features of the new Apple operating system, iOS 7, is you can actually lock it after the fact through Find My iPhone. Now, even if they've got your passcode, your Apple ID password will prevent them from turning off Find My iPhone. That's a new feature.
Okay.
So essentially, they get away with your phone, they go to turn off Find My iPhone, the password pops up, they don't have that password. Now this phone's useless to them because as soon as you get home, you lock it, they can't wipe it anymore. So even if they take it into an Apple store and say, oh, hey, I've locked my phone out, they're still going to need that password to unlock it.
And that password is different from your 4-digit passcode just to get into the phone.
That's correct. Now, some folks have a 4-digit passcode. You can put on a more complex passcode that can make it more difficult. So you can say to somebody, look, I can put the passcode in it, but it's going to take a little while. They're going to go on to somebody who's a better opportunity. This password is the same password that you use for buying apps and buying games.
Oh, okay. So that I'm familiar with. Does Android have a similar program?
Android has a similar feature. It's called Android Device Manager. It's kind of like Find My iPhone. So it's the website, Google's website. If you just search Android Device Manager, you'll be able to find it. And you can remote administrate the phone from there. So you can lock it, you can wipe it. The problem with Android is it's not as secure as iOS right now in that they don't have that password protection after the fact. So if somebody takes your Android phone, they can plug it in, they can wipe it completely. They now have access to that phone, assuming that you haven't put the phone on a block list.
What's a block list?
So your phone, every phone out there has a unique identifier, unique address that belongs to that phone so that they use to register to mobile networks. IMEI block lists essentially...
IMEI?
IMEI.
IMEI, okay.
They are international block lists where essentially as soon as a phone's on that list, it will no longer work on any provider anywhere. The idea here is that providers and the government are working together to make sure that stolen phones are absolutely useless to reduce their value. For
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how do you find that number? The IMEI.
There's actually a code that you can punch into your phone. I think it's #60*. That's on most phones. You can also find it usually in the menu of your phone. It'll also be on the side of the box from when you bought it.
I don't have the box anymore.
Your cellular provider will have it on hand. Okay. So if you call them and say, hey, my phone's been stolen, assuming that they're participating with the block list, then that phone will be placed on there.
What about Touch ID?
Touch ID, that's a new feature from Apple. Now, Motorola actually had a feature much like this a few years ago, but essentially what it does is it takes a picture of your thumbprint or your fingerprints. You can register a few different digits, and it uses that. It scans the skin just underneath to match your thumbprint, and that's essentially your password. It can be faked, but it's very, very difficult to do so. The reason that Apple put this in place is because they found that you use a lock code, I use a lock code, but the majority of people don't. So the idea was to make security so simple that all you have to do is touch your phone as you pick it up and it unlocks it. That thumbprint can be used to turn off Find My iPhone, but they're going to have to take your digits with you, and they kind of need to be alive to work.
Do they?
They do, yeah. It does actually need to have that electroconductivity, which can be faked again, but really...
But it isn't a matter of just cutting off your thumb and taking it with your phone and you're all set.
It's not Mission Impossible.
As much as we might like to think so. All right, so what this reminds me of is that I should regularly download the content on my phone, my contacts, my pictures, the videos of my kid, so that if it ever is taken, I have the backup.
For me, that's always an important thing to do, but one of the great features that you'll find in Windows Phone, in Android, in BlackBerry, and in iPhone now is that they're using the cloud. So iCloud for the Apple iPhone and the Google Sync Cloud for Google for Android phones will essentially, they'll kind of suck up your pictures, your contacts, all of your email. So if you do happen to lose that phone, you can actually go ahead and wipe it, and next time you set your new phone up with that same ID and that same password, it'll download all of those pictures, all of those contacts from the cloud.
Never knew that I would love clouds quite so much. All right, now help us out here because you knew what this name was. We were like Cthulhu? What is it?
That is Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, and it's one of the elder gods from, I can't remember the name of the author.
A story written in the 1920s.
It was a story written in the 1920s. The second one is Allspark, which is from Transformers. So here's the thing. They could actually go ahead and name the kid this and just call her Cassie, right?
There you go.
It would work.
All right. Thank you,
My
Graham
pleasure.
Williams.